about to leave, already packing. Come with me, I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions. We'll get away, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out. Die with my own doubts. Be free with me. Let's be free with Not looking back, eyes on the freeway, Bonnie and Clyde, a classic cliche. We're on the run, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out. Die with my own doubts. Be free.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's Jim here at Treaties HQ, welcoming you to the second in our series of A-Level Geography revision workshops, blasts, and we've got Abdurrahman and Alice with us again after your stunning success of last week. We had to get you back, but also because we got you on a 2-week contract. So today's session is global governance. Abdurrahman, do you want to take the lead today to give us a flavour for what kind of things we're going to cover in this session, how it works and all that kind of good stuff as people are arriving here in the chat window, and then when you're ready we'll flick the switch and make a start.
Sure. Thanks, Jim. Welcome, everybody. It's so good to see you all again. If you're new to this and you weren't here last week for Global Systems, then welcome. If you are joining us again, then also welcome to you as well. You'll know how the chat window works. For those of you who are new, we want to see as many answers as possible in the chat. Alice and I will be interacting with it throughout. We have it open and we can see your responses. We might even give a shout out to your names as well. As Jim said, we're doing global governance today. So expect a healthy bit of this to be on Antarctica. So hopefully you can show off your knowledge. We'll kickstart off with some multiple choice questions. So over to you, Alice.
Thank you. Okay, so question 1 then, to get you started. Earth's shared resources, such as the deep ocean and atmosphere, are the ... Is it A, resource commons, B, shared areas, C, global commons, or D, global resources? Immediately I can see lots of people have gone for the correct answer, which is, of course, C, global commons. Well done. So this is what this topic's all about, really, isn't it? Question 2. Which agency is responsible for international public health? Right, thinking about things that have been in the news. This is an acronyms kind of tester for you. So is it A, the WB, B, the WTO, C, the IMF, or D, the WHO? What do you think? Responsible for public health. Which one of those might it be? Put your answer in the chat window and we can see how you're doing. Great. Well done, everyone. Lots of you going for the correct answer, which is, of course, D, the WHO, the World Health Organization, which Trump famously threatened to cut ties with, but mercifully the Biden administration has put all this into reverse because it's key to perhaps global governance when it comes to health and the COVID-19 issue. Right, question 3. Which Asian nation has continued whaling in the Southern Ocean, claiming it as scientific research? So if we're thinking about protecting the Southern Ocean as part of Antarctica, which Asian nations continued whaling? And again, lots of people going for the right answer here. It is, of course, C, Japan. Well done to you guys. Number 4, scientific expeditions have found chromium, copper, and uranium deposits. Which threat to Antarctica is this? So scientists have found these key minerals in Antarctica. Which might this link to from the list you've got in front of you? Well done again to those people contributing. And of course, the answer is B, the search for mineral resources. And this is part of why the Antarctic Treaty system came about, and of course the way it's developed in terms of things like the Madrid Protocol to try and protect the environment against different countries wanting to prospect on the continent. Question 5. The Antarctic convergence marks the true outer edge of Antarctica. It is between, I'm going to give you some options, A, about 45 degrees and 60 degrees south, B, about 45 degrees and 60 degrees west, C, about 55 degrees and 60 degrees south, and D, about 45 degrees and 50 degrees south. So go for the answer you're happy with. Bit more of a mixed bag of answers here. Few people saying no clue. Okay, let's perhaps have the answer on this one, please. So what's the Antarctic convergence? It's a band of ocean that lies between 45 degrees and 60 degrees south. And it's quite key, isn't it, to be able to define what is meant by a wilderness area if you want to protect it. So this is a natural boundary within the ocean where we see an upwelling and a mixing of waters and an uptick in productivity if we think about things like krill. And what the Antarctic Treaty has done is taken this natural boundary and said, right, we're going to protect everything south of 60 degrees latitude. Okay, so let's have a look at the next activity. Okay. This is just an alarm, a reminder to remind us that actually we need to know some facts and figures about Antarctica. We must know some facts and figures about Antarctica because it's a case study such as we have them at A-level. Okay, so let's remember that. Thank you. Thank you, Abdurrahman. On to you.
Yeah, so as Alice said, thanks Alice, it's so important that the AO1, and we're going to have a go at that now. What you have in front of you are some dates and some figures, and in this 60-second challenge, what we want you to do is we want you to match up the statements on the left-hand side to those figures on the right-hand side. So for example, in the chat, give me answers like E4, B2, A7, whatever it might be. Let's start the 60 seconds, Jim. Let's test them. Very good. A1 was a nice and easy one. Those people going B2. Maybe I should have mixed it up a little bit more. Great. Keep the answers coming. Thank you. There are so many of you here to name. I can't keep up. Well done. Amazing, amazing. Okay, final 5-6 seconds or so. Get them in. Thanks, Paige, for that long list. Okay, right. 60 seconds may have been a little bit short for some of you, so I'm just going to leave it up there for 5-10 seconds more, just as more answers are pouring into the chat. And we'll reveal answers in a sec. So maybe if there's one that you didn't get done, try and get it done now. All of these are very, very important as bits of AO1, so it's important that you know all of these. Right, Jim, let's have the answers. I'll go through a few. So A1 and B2, a lot of people were getting correct. Just have a look at the rest of them, especially perhaps something like CCA MLR, the Commission for the Conservation of Antarctic Marine Living Resources, which you may not have known, has 25 states and the EU, and some other ones on there. So well done to those people who are now sort of pouring in the answers. Well done. This is really, really, really good AO1 knowledge. Right, let's move over to the next one. I believe it's you, Alice, with a brand new game.
Thank you. Right, okay, so Kim's game, got a bit of fun for you here. You'll have a minute 30 to memorise 6 threats to Antarctica, which will appear on the screen. Try not to write them down, just use your brain power to try and memorise them as they appear. So let's have the next slide then, please. Okay. So have a look at those, have a read of those. We've got 6 key threats to Antarctica. Look carefully because they'll start to disappear. How are you doing? We're left with the last one. Okay, so in a minute we're going to think about which item is missing. And I've got a fun fact for you. Antarctica is the only continent not to be affected by COVID-19 so far. So lucky scientists. Okay, let's take a look. So in the chat, I want to know which of those threats to Antarctica you cannot see on screen. Great work. There's some people that are right on the ball. Great work. Loads of you getting this. Okay, let's have the answer then, please. And it was changes to ocean salinity, of course. Yeah, so we are concerned about changes to ocean salinity with changes in the extent of ice in Antarctica and how this might affect wider circulation systems. So this is a concern that global governments, arguably, of the continent should be taken care of. Okay, well done to you guys. We're going to go on to red herring, which is basically odd one out. So you're going to see some sets of key terms and ideas, and we need to work out what's the odd one out, which I'd love you to tell me in the chat. Is it A to D? And then also why, if you can tell me why they might be the odd one out. Let's have a look at the first one then, please. So here we are, question 1. We've got laws, norms, global systems, and institutions. Which of the 4 items is the odd one out, and why? Okay, some people coming up with the right answer. Well done. Can we explain why? Okay, so let's see the right answer, please. So the odd one out of the red herring is global systems, because actually the laws, norms, and institutions are all the things that are regulating and reproducing global systems. So the three contribute to the fourth. Okay, next one, please. Thank you. So we've got the WWF, World Wildlife Fund, A. B is Greenpeace. C is the United Nations Environment Programme. And D is ASOC, or Antarctic and Southern Ocean Coalition. But which one's the odd one out? And what links them? Lots of right answers here, although we've got a bit of a mixture. Perhaps we could argue it different ways. That's the thing about odd one out. You can argue it different ways. Let's see what we went for as the odd one out here. Okay, so the other three, the WWF, the Greenpeace, and ASOC, are non-governmental organisations, or I guess ASOC's a coalition of non-governmental organisations, NGOs, that take an interest in Antarctica, whereas the United Nations is actually, it's not non-governmental, it's intergovernmental. So it's an intergovernmental organisation. So it's the part of the UN that responds to environmental issues. And of course, NGOs as well as IGOs are involved in global governance. It's a team effort. Okay, question 3 then. We've got regional, personal, national, and local. Which of the 4 items is the odd one out, and why? Regional, personal, national, and local. What are we talking about when we think about this sort of topic in geography? I think Brogan Gray's got the right idea. Lots of people got the right idea. Can you explain why? Okay, I like Carmel's answer. Let's have a look at the answer, please. Okay, personal. Personal is the odd one out because regional, national, and local scales, as is international or global, are all scales at which global governance operates and we need to know about at A-level. Personal geographers are interested in a personal scale. If you read this at university, you might start looking at this sort of thing, but it's not something we need to get into at A-level. Thank you. Question 4 then. A, the Amazon rainforest. B, the high seas and deep oceans. C, Antarctica. And D, outer space. Which of the 4 items is the odd one out, and why? What have we just been talking about? Georgia, straight on it, and Eddie. Loads of people coming up with the right answer for that. Well done. So let's have a look at the answer. The Amazon rainforest is not a global common. So remember, we're talking about something that doesn't fall under particular national jurisdictions, but everyone has access to it. We couldn't say that for the Amazon rainforest because although it's spread over several countries, Brazil would say it has jurisdiction over a large part of, say, the Amazon rainforest. And it's not fair to say that everyone has equal access to it. We might sometimes bandy about the idea that the rainforest biome is providing ecosystems to the world, but it's a little bit harder to say that the Amazon rainforest, it's incorrect to say the Amazon rainforest is a global common. It's not. And question 5, please. On to you, Abdurrahman.
Yeah, back to me. So we saw that you clearly like Kim's game. Can I just echo so far? It's been great to see in the chat. I know Alice has encouraged this, but people saying not only why something, not only what is wrong, but also why it's wrong. Just to pick up on something from before, Sally, I know you asked what a moratorium was. Moratorium is a temporary prohibition on activity. So the whaling moratorium was a ban on catching and killing whales. So this time around, you've got 60 seconds, 9 items this time, not 6. Let's try and memorize as many treaties and organizations involved in the governance of Antarctica. Let's go. So these are all either NGOs, organizations, so intergovernmental organizations, or treaties, actual laws, international laws in place. To try and keep them all in your head as they slowly disappear. All of these are ones that you need to know about. Most of them appear on the specification. So have a think here about whether you can hold not only the names, but also the dates. So 1959, for example, for the Antarctic Treaty. Last two. Try and hold them in your head. Can you remember the other 8 as the final one slowly will disappear? Okay, think about that. In a minute, we're going to see a board with 1 item missing. And let's have it then, Jim. So tell me in the chat which one is missing. Let's see how well your brain serves you here and how well your memory serves you. Let's have them in let's have it in the chat, please. I'll give a clue when people start getting it wrong, although that doesn't seem to be happening. Jehan, Rebecca, Georgina, Carmel, well done for being the first in. Well, I mean, not a single person has got it wrong. Special shout out to Monica there, who has the same surname as I do. You get a special shout out just for that. But yeah, indeed, let's reveal it, Jim. It was Greenpeace, that non-governmental organization, which you'll know for having sometimes slightly extreme tactics about how they go about things. For example, going as far as boarding whaling ships in order to stop them. And they've been doing that for quite some time. Right, let's move on to the next one, Jim. Okay, simple conundrum here. You'll see a very, very important word that we have alluded to already and mentioned, and it's jumbled up. You have 30 seconds to tell me what it is. Let's have it. Very important word, this. Links to global systems. That's a clue. Examples include the WTO, the World Bank, the IMF, great, lovely. It was, of course, let's have it, Jim. It was, of course, institutions there. We know institutions alongside norms and laws are absolutely central to global governance and the practice of global governance, whether that be institutions like the WHO and their global governance of the COVAX scheme, which is ensuring that the vaccination for COVID-19 is spread throughout the world, or other organizations, for example, the UN IPCC, which looks at climate change issues. Right, over to you, Alice.
Thank you. Right, okay, so this is the bubble quiz, and just to introduce you to this, if you weren't with us this time last week, so these are a bit like multiple choice questions, but remember, more than one answer could be correct, or perhaps they all could be wrong. So I'm looking for you to put in the chat whether you think one answer's right, 2, 3, or 4, and then which answers are correct. So let's take a look at the first one. Remember, you could have 0. Question 1 then, which institutions have helped reproduce the global financial system? The global financial system. Is it the WTO, the WHO, the IMF, or the World Bank? How many of those are correct? What do you think? Good. Well done to Yasmin. I can see lots of people. Well done to Brogan. Rebecca knows what she's talking about. And Charlotte. Right, okay, so let's have the answers, please. Well done to those people that said ACD, WHO, the World Health Organization, is not per se reproducing the global financial system. Question 2. Which organizations were responsible for structural adjustment programs in the 1980s? So if we think back a little while and we think about which international organizations were responsible for the now notorious structural adjustment programs, which ones were they? You've got some options there. Was it all of them, none of them? What do you think? Some good answers coming in here. We just need to be careful. Well done to Henry. And Will, right on the money. Let's have a look at the answers. Okay, so the World Bank and the IMF were involved in what we call structural adjustment programs. So they're asking some countries that are hugely, hugely in debt to look at the ways that they could repay that debt. And arguably, this was having some social impacts on those countries. We think about perhaps some African nations or countries in South America that we've asked to make huge debt repayments, but actually taking that money out of perhaps money they could have spent on schools and hospitals. Oh, I might have given you a clue to the next question. Question 3. What is a criticism of SAPs? Is it A, it's led to countries not investing properly in health systems and infrastructure? B, undermine the economic sovereignty of borrowing states? C, exacerbated poverty? D, countries disagreed on fair policies for so-called developing countries? So which of those were criticisms of now outmoded, outdated SAPs? Have a go. That's it. Okay, some good answers coming in. Well done to people taking part. I know some of these are trickier than others. Let's have a look at the answers then, please. Okay, so the first 3 all were linked as criticisms of structural adjustment programs. It meant that teachers weren't getting paid in these poorer countries. It meant that roads weren't getting repaired, all to service international debt, which fair enough, countries had borrowed, but perhaps there was no real understanding of the situation these countries found themselves in with these structural adjustment programs. And certainly the IMF and the World Bank take very different approaches to indebted countries now, it's fair to say. Question 4. Okay, what is a criticism of intergovernmental organisations, IGOs, top-down approach? So if we had to discuss this in a question, pros and cons of IGOs, is it true that they, A, sometimes do not take into account local stakeholders' opinions? B, it occurs at the local level, meaning it encourages local action? C, decisions can appear to be imposed on people? Or D, it ensures compliance as locals have been consulted? So some of those look contradictory. What do you think? I think Jack and Sally know their stuff. Ethan and Heidi. Well done. You've had to read that quite quickly and process it. Brilliant. Let's have a look at the answers then. Yeah, so those are people that said A and C. So they're not really taking into account local people's opinions. People feel that something's been imposed on them. And if they weren't involved in any of the decision making, perhaps are they going to buy in to this policy? Are they going to feel it's fair from a sort of democratic point of view? And I guess that's the struggle, isn't it, for IGOs like the UN, like the IMF, like the World Bank. You know, no one's electing them, so you know, people feel these things are being done to them. Next question, please. Aha, over to you.
Well done, everyone, for contributing so well so far. You might feel a little bit of the time that you're getting things wrong in a row, but it's good revision work. Here, this table has 4 groups of phrases. So what I'd like you to do is to connect 4 different boxes, and we'll do them sort of one by one. I'll give you a bit of time, and I'd like you to tell me what ties together 4 different groups. I'll give you a bit of time, and in the chat, I'll wait to hear some of the suggestions, and then we will get going with revealing them one by one. I'll start giving clues now. Just about 30 seconds or so, just to have a think what ties some of these together. One of them definitely has something to do with the UN. Just remember the spec asks you to consider if some agencies involved in global governance do more good than they do bad. Some organizations in here you've already heard of, and I've referred to them already. Let's have a look in the chat. So clearly some people, very good. I didn't think, Ernest, well done for that one. That's a very, very good one there. You have the only one who's identified it. Yes, well done to the people talking about the NGOs. Very good, very good. Well done. Right, let's. I'm conscious of time here, so let's have a look at the first group then, Jim. So the first group was about these institutions. So well done that regulate and reproduce global systems. So there they are coming up in yellow: the WTO, IMF, OPEC, and the World Bank. OPEC there being the first new one, very important in relation to the trade of oil. Let's have the next one. This is the slightly trickier one, the slightly longer one. This is how the UN has promoted growth and stability. Remember, the spec in the exam requires you to think about how organizations like the UN have promoted growth and stability or exacerbated inequalities and injustices. And these things here in green are the positive side of the UN. Let's go for the next two. We have the Sustainable Development Goals, 17 goals, which we'll return to later. Very, very important form of global governance and an example of the UN trying to do good. And final one, as you would have guessed, that a lot of people came up with this one. We have these NGOs involved in Antarctica's governance. So well done for that one. Let's move on. Okay, so the big reveal. What I'm going to do is, in a sort of slow fashion, I'm going to reveal some clues as to the final, what's revealed behind the green box. So every single time a new clue is revealed, you get a little bit more of information. But as soon as the first clue is revealed, please start trying to guess. So let's have the first one then. So this, I don't know what this is, designated Antarctica as a natural reserve. So start guessing. Let's have number 2 to help you out. It completely banned mining for mineral resources, this thing that I'm referring to. Let's have a go in the chat, please. I've not had anything so far. What is this thing? Let's have the third one then, Jim. It's also known as the Madrid Protocol. It is much shorter than its actual name. So yes, those of you saying Madrid Protocol, no, I want its full name, please. Let's go for the fourth then. See that in time. It was signed in 1991. Not the Antarctic Treaty, no. Let's have number 5, and then I'll pause before the big reveal. This protocol being a big clue there, has been signed by 34 countries. Just give it 5 more seconds or so for someone to take the time to type it in this very long response. It was known as the Madrid Protocol, but there we go. Thank you so much, Millie. Let's have it then, Jim. Quite a mouthful, this one. The Protocol on Environmental Protection to the Antarctic Treaty, signed in 1991. Well done for getting there. Yes, it was called the Madrid Protocol. Well done. Let's go to the next big reveal then, Jim. Okay, clue number 1. One of these things is called quality education. Let's go for the next one. It was, or they were, rather, big clue there, created in 2015. No, Samuel, think after them. Clue number 3. They were intended to be achieved, or they are intended to be achieved by 2030. And let's then have the last 2 clues. I think a lot of people are getting this right. They were set by the United Nations General Assembly. There are 17 of them. And there we go. Let's have it, Jim. They've already revealed the answer in the chat. They're so great. The Sustainable Development Goals. Right, back to you, Alice.
Thanks very much. Okay, so you can have 90 seconds now, ideally if you've got pen and paper, to jot some stuff down. These are key facts about Antarctica that we need to know. So we need to know some facts and figures. Obviously, you might come up with some stuff that's different to us. But if I tell you, you're going to need 3 facts about Antarctica's climate, 3 facts about Antarctica's climate, 2 facts about the Antarctic ice extent. So 2 facts about ice in Antarctica. And then 1 fact about the British Antarctic Territory. 1 fact about the British Antarctic Territory. And your time starts now. Put it in the chat once you've worked them all out.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Good, we're getting some facts in now. Great if you could name different areas. Great, we're getting some facts and figures in there. And as I say, if you can name specific places within Antarctica, even better. Okay, so let's have a look at 3 facts about the Antarctic climate. Now, clearly you've come up with a whole range of really great stuff. First fact here appears to be two in one here. Coldest, driest, 3, and windiest place on Earth. Certainly I agree with coldest and windiest place on Earth. And I think lots of people said that, but even better if we can get a fact to that. So mean winter temperature at the South Pole's about minus 57 degrees Celsius. That is proper cold. And precipitation varies clearly, but averages of about 166 millimeters per year. It's a cold desert. So important to know some facts and figures, particularly about Antarctica's climate for this case study. Thank you. Let's have our 2 facts. Now, I'll ask you for 2 things about Antarctic ice extent. And some people are talking about different named ice sheets. So that's brilliant. Here we've got East Antarctica has seen no significant loss of ice. So remember, there's slight contradictions in terms of what's happening with the ice extent in Antarctica. However, West Antarctica and the Antarctic Peninsula's ice sheets are thinning. So this is why scientists are really focused on Antarctica, thinking it might be a barometer for climate change and its impact on us all, but perhaps it isn't. Perhaps that different things are happening that we're not fully understanding in terms of the physical science at the moment. So it's kind of cutting edge science as much as anything. And our 1 fact was about the British Antarctic Survey. Now, my fact is that Queen Elizabeth Land in Antarctica is twice the size of the UK. And this was a portion of the British Antarctic Territory that was named and sort of gifted to the Queen in 2012 on the occasion of her Diamond Jubilee. Now, of course, the whole treaty system kind of means this is a global common that nobody owns and we're not exploiting. But then the British government go and do that. So it's intriguing because Argentina saw it as a provocation. And maybe that demonstrates that the Antarctic treaty system could unravel. Thank you.
Great. We don't want to hold you for too much longer now, everybody. Your final conundrum of the day. Thanks for sticking with us. 30 seconds. Try and solve this. Let's have them in the chat. I think this one is nice and easy. Last 15 seconds. Thank you, Rebecca. Thanks, Harris. Thanks, Esme. Thanks, Jack, Naomi, Josie. Nice one to finish up this one. If you know what it is, it wraps up the session quite nicely. Right, as soon as it's ready, we can reveal it then, Jim. Yeah, it is, of course, climate change. Ties together everything really nicely. Not only is it a massive threat, an existential threat to Antarctica, but also a big global governance issue. It is a global problem, and therefore global problems require global solutions. We're going to leave it there, everyone. Thank you for joining us today, and well done for sticking with us the whole way. We've got an exciting program lined up from now on, changing places next week, for example. We'll do 2 sessions on that. So then the week next week and the week after, and loads more coming up. If you think we're going too human geography focused, don't worry. We've got physical geography on the way as well. Thank you, everybody. See you next time.
Brilliant. Thanks, Abdurrahman, Alice. Great session. Don't forget a couple of things on the admin side of things. There's a replay of this session which should be appearing on YouTube about 2 minutes after it finishes. Also, if you go to tutordu.net/live, you can also see a replay there, and you can download the PowerPoint from this and all the other sessions in all the other subjects if you want to download the materials so that you can have a look at them at your leisure. Huge thanks to Abdurrahman and Alice for putting the session together. Looking forward to next week's and the following weeks. Give them a thumbs up if you found it useful, because that's helpful for us people finding this. There we go. Alice is giving you a visual clue as to what you need to do now. Helps YouTube find this video for other A-Level Geography students. And share the link with any of your mates who you think might find it useful on replay. And if you subscribe to the YouTube channel by clicking the bell icon, you'll get an alert as and when we add over the next 24 hours, really, add the next series of sessions for this. So fantastic, great session. Thanks very much for spending some time with us this afternoon and for joining us live. I'm sure we'll see you. I hope you see you at the next session. So thanks very much.
Thanks.
Bye, everybody.
Cheers.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Bye.